Hello, I'm Kevin Smith-Fagan, KVIE's Vice President for Development, and I'm privileged to be here in KVIE's Studio A, the Mary Stuart Rogers studio, with the new President and General Manager, that's my boss, here at KVIE, David Lowe. David, congratulations.
Thank you so much. So glad to be here.
All right, now you are the new head of KVIE, and you got this job. The board chose you out of a national search because you articulated a vision for the future of KVIE. Tell us about that vision.
KVIE is a convener in the community. We capture information and put it together in this video archive, whether it's someone's stories about how they came to the Central Valley, maybe what the Central Valley looked like long before anyone else was here and they settled it. We have so many stories that we can capture and preserve for future generations, whether it's something that happened 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, or something that's happening right now. We are collecting that information and presenting it back to the community and celebrating what it means to be a resident of the Central Valley here in California.
So it's all about local for you, the Central Valley?
If we're not local, we might as well pack up and go. Clearly, we have the best programs available from PBS, and we love to show the programs like Nova and Masterpiece and Frontline and Antiques Roadshow, but we have to present what it means to be Californian to the Californians who are watching.
Are you yourself a native of the Central Valley?
I'm not a native of the Central Valley. I am a native Californian. Most people who know me, they know that I grew up in Arizona and they assume I was born there. I was actually born in the desert. I was born in Needles, California, down south. But I did grow up in Arizona, and my family moved here in 1996.
What brought you to the region?
I was working for a corporation, and I knew that I wanted to get closer to Sacramento after graduating from college. We had family in Redding at the time, and I knew that Sacramento was a great area.
So 12 years later, you're here in the Central Valley still. What is it about this community that you and your family really value?
What I was happy to find out, when I first moved here, people kept telling me what I was going to love about it, and they said, you're going to love the Sacramento region. It's so close to Tahoe. It's so close to the Bay Area. It's so close to Reno. It's so close to everything. And I thought, that's great, because I do like those places, and I've taken advantage of going there in the proximity.
But it sure makes it sound like there's nothing going on in Sacramento.
Exactly, and what we did was we said we have to find this out on our own. And what is so great about KVIE is we have these stories now, and we can celebrate them and show people what it means to go underground in Sacramento, for example, or we introduce people to strange street names and take them around our viewing area. We go to the foothills, we've gone to Stockton and Modesto and all of these places, and really celebrated what it means to be a resident of the Central Valley.
Well, you and I are both highly committed to public television. We love KVIE, we love the ideals of public television, but there are challenges ahead. I mean, when you look at the landscape for the future of public television, for the future of KVIE, what do you see as the biggest challenges that need to be addressed?
We have a few challenges right now. One of them is the technological challenge. And I think most everyone knows that something is happening with television in February 2009. At a minimum, I think people have heard that. I think our challenge, though, is making sure that people who rely on KVIE, who rely on over-the-air and don't want cable, they don't want satellite, they don't even want a new television set. The biggest challenge is they don't know that all they need is a converter box. It only costs anywhere between $40 and $70. We happen to be able to provide free coupons, and we need to make sure that no one has to buy a new TV. They don't have to sign up for these services. And I come across this all the time, and I'm sure you do as well.
I do, because as David knows well, I visit with lots of KVIE donors. In fact, I had lunch with a woman yesterday who, she gets it. She knows that she has to change her television somehow because of the analog to digital changeover, but she doesn't know what that means for her. In her case, she's 95 years old. She has an analog set that has a VCR built in, and she is puzzled about what she has to do. We get lots of questions like that on the donor services call lines, so we're going to have to guide people through that. And then after the digital changeover, what happens next?
Well, we have some funding issues as well. So with that, we have an ability to serve people in a greater way, more channels available to everyone, not just people right now who have the digital set, but we already have multiple channels.
This is broadcasting in digital. Everybody will be able to get multiple KVIE signals?
Right, even just over the air. They don't have to subscribe to cable or satellite in order to get these extra services for free. Not to mention what we're going to do on the web. Whenever we create a program, that should be available for everyone to see on the web at their own time. For me, I'm excited when I know that someone out there across somewhere in the country, some 14-year-old kid needs to learn about the American bison. And he's typing into Google and he finds it on the America's Heartland website, and KVIE has presented a video clip that he can then use for his class project. What I'm most excited about is that there are times where maybe that kid is not in the viewing area with a television station that is airing America's Heartland, but they got it because of what KVIE is able to provide to everyone in the country, and actually everyone in the world who has a computer.
So television and computers are sort of getting together. Well, here we are on the web, so I guess there's some proof of that.
They're merging in a way, and again, what we have to focus on is quality content. Television becomes just another distribution vehicle, but for us it's all about the quality content that we get from PBS and from other sources like the Britcoms that I know that so many of our members like. It's about quality programming that we present and quality programming that we create. How it's then viewed and seen becomes a little bit more secondary. But we do have some funding issues. We touched on that a little bit. Our most loyal supporters, they understand that we are a nonprofit. They understand that we need their financial support. But when you look at some of the younger viewers, they don't understand what is nonprofit television. They understand that there's something different. They see the quality. They see that there's something different going on, but they don't understand that we do need their financial support to make it possible. And there's also a misperception that we get all the money we need from the government, which is simply not true.
No, it sure isn't. If we did, I'd be out of a job.
Yes, you would. And as you know, one of your tax dollars every year goes to support public television.
So we look at what's on your plate. You're now managing a $17 million operation that is a pillar of the community in the Central Valley and Sierra. You're going to lead us through the digital transition, going to, sounds like, use technology and the web to make our content more widely available and more. But you're not only running the place, you also are a KVIE viewer when you get home. What's your favorite show?
My favorite show, hands down, from a PBS standpoint, is Frontline. And I've had the privilege of being able to see David Fanning, who has been involved with Frontline for 25 years as the head of Frontline. I've been able to see him speak, and it is an amazing experience. Every time I learn something new, I get engaged, and all of a sudden I look at the clock and an hour's gone. And I'm just fascinated. I want to go out and change the world and make something happen because of Frontline.
It's a great show. The critics of many people have called it the best show on television. I think somebody in the Bee in the past year said exactly that. But the kids, you have two daughters, they are probably not staying up till 10 o'clock to watch Frontline. Do the kids watch?
Well, you're right. They're not watching Frontline with me. I have a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old, but I did get to see the value of our kids' programming firsthand because my oldest, she loved Barney growing up, and it was such a benefit because I could say, hey, it's time to brush your teeth, and then if she didn't want to, I could start singing a Barney song. She's singing along with me. All of a sudden, she's brushing her teeth, and she's happy. And I also got to see it in a little bit more meaningful way with my niece. My niece was born with a cleft lip and with some fused toes, and she had to have some major surgery. She had some initial surgery when she was a baby, but then we knew she had to have some follow-up surgery about the time she was 5. She called me one day, and I talked to her, and I guess I was projecting my feelings on her because I was a little nervous for her, and I said, yeah, so you're going to the doctor tomorrow, huh? And she says, yeah, Uncle Dave, I got to go to the doctor, just like Caillou. And I thought that's wonderful because what Caillou is about is sharing new experiences with kids. And because of Caillou, she was not apprehensive about going to the doctor.
Well, there it is. You watch public television and it improves your life, something that you and I know. Now, last thing, I know from having worked with you for more than 4 years now, when you were Vice President of Development and Marketing before moving into the President and General Manager's role, that you are easily accessible. You want to hear from viewers. If people who are watching this have a question for you or want to share a concern, how do they reach out?
There are a number of ways. General Manager at kvie.org is going to get to me. D. Lowe, L-O-W-E, at kvie.org is going to reach me even more directly. I even have a phone number that I pick up and answer if I'm available, 916-641-3650.
All right, it's out there in the public domain. You want to hear from the folks who care about KVIE. You want to hear their thoughts. in their concerns. Thank you so much for being part of this informal chat with David Lowe, the new president and general manager of KVIE. I'm Kevin Smith-Fagan, David's vice president for development, and thank you for your support of KVIE. Stay tuned.